We're back talking about facilities management with our expert from Vienna, Dr. Redlein, and the industry group here is known as the International Facility Management Association, IFMA, and their foundation, which is the charitable arm of the organization, recently published a book, Work on the Move. And this award-winning book, edited by Diane Coles Levine, has been widely and positively received in the industry. Alex, new ways of working. This is an exciting field. It's not only in the office traditionally, but also at home, in third places like Starbucks, at clients' places. Tell us what's happening.
Do you know what my office is like? It's easygoing. My office is this. Because I have my emails on it. I'm really linked to my office, so I have voice over IP on my mobile. There is no need for me to have a fixed office.
Your conference was in downtown Los Angeles, your 4-day conference, and you were one of the presenters. And all those high-rise are downtown, and people drive in through traffic on the 110, and they go up to their offices, sit down, open up their computer, spend most of the time on their computer, and then go back to the garage and drive in traffic home. And there really isn't a need for some of them to actually be physically in that office.
Work changes. You could do all the concentrated work at home. There is not really a need to go to the office. On the other hand, the work in the office changes dramatically. As you do the concentrated work maybe at home, on the beach, wherever you like, it's more the meeting, the requirement to come together, to have this tangling with your company, this keeping the people with the company, and to meet there and to exchange ideas, to be innovative. That is the reason why people are going to the office. And of course, this changes the office environment. You have to adapt now the classical offices, the cubicles, because cubicles are for working alone. Now we have more the meeting rooms that are necessary. We have to have hubs there. We have to have maybe a lounge area. I give an example. What would you think the SAP headquarters, which is one of these IT companies, the sales in Washington, what is the ratio between the people, the sales force, and the desk?
No idea.
It's 10 people share one desk.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can reduce dramatically the amount of space you use for this. On the other hand, if you go to one of the research labs, of the development labs, what do you think there are the ratios between the people and the workspace?
Well, you want a lot of people together to interchange.
It is one person is having several spaces.
Wow.
Yeah, because they should feel free, they should be innovative. Maybe they go outside and they sit outside in the sun and talk to each other and then develop something and be innovative.
Many companies have successfully allowed workers to work from home, but one of the concerns always is you're losing control over them. And I know metrics are very important, that you need a baseline measurement of productivity in the office and then at home. And I guess enlightened companies, look, they don't care how many hours it takes you to do the job. They want to get the job done and have a measurement of your productivity.
I think that's the main problem we are facing at the moment. It's not about how to design the office. It's about to change the management, to change away from you're a good boy because you come at 9 o'clock in the morning and you leave at 5 o'clock. And yes, we pay your bills. It's about the management has to change and say, okay, what is the result I want you to deliver to me? And then I pay you the bills. And this change is not with facility management. This change only can be done together with HR.
And your university, Vienna University of Technology, is one of the few international universities that actually do a lot of case studies to prove that the theoretical concepts actually work, that even though you're letting people work away from the office, the work is getting done and even getting done more productively.
You will not believe what we did as a last case study. It was about tax offices in Vienna.
Tax offices.
And normally you see tax offices are very traditional, okay? But they said, okay, tax offices should also be teamwork, because you have one time in the year where all the companies are issuing their tax declarations. It's another time of the year when the private people issue their tax declarations. So you have a hub on one team and another hub of the other team. What the tax offices say now, why not exchange the teams, and when there is one hub, that they maybe help the other one. But you have to change the office environment for that, because otherwise everyone would sit in their cabin, in their cabinet, and there is no teamwork possible.
I know that the concept of silos is very important, and one of the things you try and do both in your space design and everything else is to break down the silos and get better interaction.
That's the main thing. As I said already, it's mainly to have communication. And I give you one last word about it. HR wanted to have teamwork, but people sat in their cabinets, so it was not possible. And then we gave them not an open space. It was not 200 people in one room. It was 8 people in one room. And then one of the persons said, now I understand what teamwork means.
Nice. So it shows you how space can influence behavior. We'll be back, and in the last segment, we'll be talking about the future and why this is such an exciting field. We'll be right back. We're back with Professor Alexander Redlein, and let's talk about the future, Alex. It's an exciting field, but to accomplish change, the facility managers have to convince the boardroom, the big shots, that this is a good thing, particularly if they're asking them to give up their big offices and all. And so they need to learn the language of the boardroom, which involves dollars, risk management, and sustainability.
I give you an example. We made a study with 90 companies issuing corporate social responsibility reports. The corporate social responsibility report states what is the mission and the goal of a company in the area of sustainability. And when we look on these targets, then we can see a 99.9% overlapping of the targets of these companies with the activities of facility management. The targets are about carbon dioxide reduction, that we don't do so much emission, that we save energy, that we save water, and we save waste. But if you look, how often do you think FM is mentioned? It's less than 10%. So less than 10% of the board of directors is knowledge that they have a management inside that should take responsibility about these sustainability measures, and they print these books together with marketing and together with controlling, but the manager who is responsible for that is not on the target list.
And you pointed out to me before we went on air that a lot of facility managers were doing other things and then kind of drifted into this responsibility.
Yeah.
But now with IFMA and other organizations, it's becoming a more professional organization. People are being trained as facilities managers, and there's enormous growth potential in this field.
Most of the facility managers today are coming from technical backgrounds. Yeah, they like to drill around, but what they have to learn is that they learn the language of the board. If facilitators today say, I need a new heating, they go up to the board and say, we need a new heating. If they would sell it differently, if they would say, Art, you said we should reduce carbon dioxide. I have a nice project that reduces 10% of your carbon dioxide. And by the way, the energy is reduced by another 10%, then they would sell easier the costs that this project will arise.
And this field now involves really strategic planning, where the facilities manager can influence the bottom line by a cost saving in space and an increase in productivity, by a redesign of the office and having some people work at home and elsewhere.
But he has to be aware, not only to concentrate on cost saving, because then he is only a cost center. He has to show the value on the bottom line. He has to say, okay, I'm helping you to reach your sustainability targets, okay? And on the other hand, I can help you to increase the productivity. I give you an example of Vienna. We moved the 8 tax offices to one building. This was not only a reduction of space, it was a boost of the performance of the people there.
Wow. So you get a double win. You save money
and
a third win.
The third win was that the carbon dioxide emission, because they reduced the space by 50%, not because they worked at home, but they had better and more efficient space there, they could reduce the carbon dioxide emission by 30% and energy use also by 20 or 25%.
So a cost saving, an increase in productivity, and sustainability.
Yes.
Triple win.
Triple win.
Why are some companies resistant to this?
Because they are not knowledged and they are not looking into books that this is really a cost driver.
How come Europe is ahead of America in making these changes?
Because we dare a lot of this recession. You can read it in your news that Europe is tangling with the economy. So we had to look very dearly where we have some margins that we can use. And that's the reason why we are focusing now on facility management.
So ironically, your recession and economic problems kind of drove these changes.
You're totally right. Before 2001, it was not really on the target.
But we don't have to wait. Well, we are in our own recession, actually, so maybe that will drive some change here.
And I think it would also help us because this is a big industry and this industry is lacking experts. And it's really a good job opportunity because in Europe and also in the States, about 50% of the existing managers in this area are going into retirement soon. So we have a real lack for persons there. This is a job opportunity that is rather safe because when you do production, you can use and go with production to India, to China. But the buildings, the office buildings, they are in LA and you have to service, maintain and to manage them in LA.
So this is an exciting field for young people to think of getting into. And if you want further information, you can contact IFMA, the trade group, at the website that we're putting up at the end of the segment. IFMA has 23,000 members in 78 countries, so there's an IFMA chapter probably near where you live or work.
And if you want to come to Europe, there's also an association called EuroFM that is partnering a lot with IFMA. And I think all these associations should join forces because together we can bring this into the market and we can boost the economy with that.
And increasingly, companies are not just dollar-driven, although that certainly is the basic core purpose of any corporation, but it's the triple bottom line: people, planet, and profit. Not just money, but also concern about their workers, even their contracted workers, and of course also the planet. We'll be back with the remaining portions of Straight Talk after these messages. As an outsider looking in on the field of facility management, I find it quite fascinating that enlightened firms can increase their bottom line, increase productivity, and also increase creativity in the proper spaces. So space really matters. Buildings matter. And I know in your presentation at the IFMA conference in LA this past week, you dealt with the increasing use of mixed-use buildings. Tell us 30 seconds on mixed use.
If you would come to Vienna, you would see that we have mixed buildings. What means mixed buildings? On the ground level, you have shops there. On the first level, maybe the second level, you have offices there. And up there, you have the flats. What is the advantage? I live in the house where my office is. I don't have to drive, as you said, 2 hours, 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour back in the evening. It would help us with all the traffic problems. And to bring this together is really a booster for being at home and with your family because you have more time because you don't spend it on the road.
Alex, thank you so much for visiting us here on Straight Talk and continue success with your work in Vienna.
Thanks, it was a pleasure.
And thank you for joining us. Please be with us next week for the next edition of Straight Talk. Good night, everyone.
Straight Talk has been brought to you by Southern California Edison, the Press Telegram, and remember, Straight Talk is viewable worldwide 24/7 at straighttalktv.com.